And I'm also giving thanks to my spiritual father, Knishana Bakal. I'm here to do your work, and I thank you for your continued energetic blessings and support. Greetings, Een Lak, Alakin. I am you, our God-sciousness. Today I'm very excited to do your Mayan birthday, Dr. Gabor Mate. Maybe you remember our little email exchange we had back in 2011, shortly after I first saw you in the Zeitgeist third movie, Moving Forward, where you were heavily featured. And I went out and bought your co-authored book. You had just previously written, I believe, Hold On to Your Kids. And after reading that, we had some emails. And actually, I told you about the Mayan calendar and the Mayan culture and some of the coming-of-age ceremonies that the Maya perform or have their youth perform. But I don't believe at that time I told you your Mayan birthday. I can't quite remember, and those emails have disappeared into the ether, being 13 years ago or so. Now, what I do know is that you are called Resolving Corn. And the reason I know this is because here's your birthday, which I found on Google, and I put it into my website, and here we go. You're called Resolving Corn. Now, you can also click here and see the interesting Da Vinci Codex. That's my little way of portraying things a little bit easier without all of the extra glyphs that can be too much, really, for the uninitiated. So I came up with this way to present it. And you can also find your core self codes, which tells you a little bit about your tone and your glyph. Now, first of all, I received a vision that tone 11, which is customarily seen with a dot over the two bars, should be portrayed this way, at least the way I teach it, because it's a double-stacked rollabola, and of the 13 tones, tone 11 is by far, because of that reason, the most challenging. Actually, I should say there are many reasons that are all in many of these Mayan books on Mayan astrology. They all say tone 11 is the trickiest tone to master. And then one day I had the vision while reading the Dresden Codex that this tone should be taught the way I teach it. So that's half of who you are. And when we think about the teachings of Don Juan and Carlos Castaneda, they taught us that there are only two things that make up the self, the tonal and the nagual. And the tonal is your tone, so you are tone 11. And that tone modifies your nagual. And your nagual is corn, sometimes called cane, as in sugar cane, sometimes called reed, and I also believe it stands for bamboo. Those four plants are very sturdy, stable, straight growing. They all have everything to do with the home and the family. And I believe for thousands of years, the Maya used bamboo to make their walls of their homes and make furniture in their homes. They grew corn. Corn is the most sacred plant to the Maya. It's the most nurturing plant. And they use reeds for weaving many, many things in their culture. and sugarcane is now more a cash crop, as it were, but it's a very important part of their culture. So this glyph, which in the Yucatan is called Ben, and in Guatemala it's called Ash. Now, the spiritual meaning of this glyph is pillars of light. The Maya know that all these plants are actually pillars of light. They are bringing up nutrients from the earth and reaching up and pulling down light from Father, Son. And in fact, you can see that you are actually standing on this central line. The center line is the earth line. And there you are, connecting the pillars of light from the heavens to the earth. Balanced on your double-stacked roll of bola. Woo! Ha ha! So, I'm going to explain your 4 guides, which again, are most easily seen through the Da Vinci Codex portrayal. Oh, and by the way, if you click on the email for key codes, what I will send you is this, for everyone else who's watching for your birthdays too, of course. But this is every key code word for your glyph and your tone. So from looking at that, we can see some more of the qualities that relate to both your tone and your glyph. And the way that these all work together is that the tone is a modifier of the glyph. And with the teachings of Don Juan Carlos Castaneda, the tonal is your physical self, basically, your reality-based self. It is your earth-based self. You could even call it the ego, but not in the negative, derogatory sense of the North American pop psychological perspective. There's nothing wrong with the ego. The ego cannot be killed. It cannot be transcended except when you leave your body. And then you will see that it was just part of this costume. It came with the costume, which was related to your prenatal conditions, your birth circumstance, your parents, your siblings, your culture, etc., etc., etc. It's all actually an illusion, but still very real. So the tonal, all the things related to your double-stacked rollabola, those are the parts of you that drift away, and your nahual is your soul, as it were. Although the Maya say that we have 2 souls, in a sense. We are spirits that do come down into these bodies, obviously. And by down, I just mean come into these bodies. It's not actually down. However, the real soul that is you is not actually even on this earth. You send an aspect of your soul down into the body. The tonal is the day-to-day, very, very physically oriented, and the people around you and your job and eating and making money. And your nahual is your spiritual side of your tonal. They cannot be separated. They are you in your earthly incarnational form. So for you, Dr. Mate, your oversoul said, we need to make a resolution to be pillars of light, but we need to make it very challenging as well. Looking at Ben, at Ash, looking at your Nahual, we see some wonderful, compassionate, pragmatic guidance, staff of authority, courage. Many words that I do believe are actually true for you, sir. And the way that the tonal interacts with that is to modify the Nagual. So that means there are 13 types of corn. I bet you didn't know that. Each of the 13 tones modifies their Nagual corn in different ways. So with your resolving tone, we've got the challenge, we've got problem solving, we've got counterbalancing and controlling the chaos. In the eye of the storm, I saw a vision that that little dot here is like the third eye, and it's like the eye of the storm. That's why that's in there. So if I were doing a full reading for you, I would create what I call high vibration code phrases, which combine a word or phrase from your tonal and a word or phrase from your Nagual. And I generally make 3 per position. We all have 5 positions: the core self, the past wisdom guide, the divine feminine, divine masculine, and future vision guide. And I'll tell you why I do them in that order in a moment. But for now, back to your core self. Here are some high vibe code phrases that might fit you. Pragmatic discernment. Problem solving, staff of authority. Guidance from the eye of the storm. So now, your past wisdom, divine feminine, divine masculine, future vision guide. Here's why I teach them in that order for you and for every single other human being alive and dead. The way that this system works is you add 5 to your birth tone. So you are 11, so 12, 13, 1, 2, 3. That means 3 is your past wisdom, 4 is your divine feminine, 5 is your divine masculine, and 6 is your future vision guiding tonal influence. Okay, so you are 11, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the glyphs, here's how the system works. You are born standing on corn. Isn't that interesting? And to go back to your past wisdom guide, we go back 8. And there we are, the serpent. And as I said, that's a tone 3 for the serpent. And where's corn again? To go to your future vision guide, we go forward 8. And there we are. That's the sunrise. And for your divine masculine, we go back 6. And there is the deer. Even though it looks like a hand, it's a deer. And for your future, your divine feminine, we go forward 6. And here is the rainstorm. So, that's the same pattern for everyone. From where you are, to get to the future, you go forward. The future is feminine. You walk forward 6 spaces. That's your divine feminine. Future vision guide, you walk forward 8. 2 more from your divine feminine. So the future, to get to your future, you're looking up and to the left. And as you know, left hand is engaging the right mind. And you look up and to the left. And even if you just sit here right now and look up and to the left, you are engaging, you are envisioning processes. Isn't that cool? By the way, this whole thing was zapped into me one day while meditating. Okay? This came in like a thunderbolt. To go to your past, you go back 6 steps. So the past is masculine. And then you're thinking about the past. 8 steps back. Again, right hand side, left brain, and facts, logic. Sure, there's emotions there too, I know, but it's much more logically, factually oriented, okay? That's the way it works. So, as I said, tone 3 and the serpent. Now, tone 3 is called activating. Activating serpent as basically your first 13 years of life, your early childhood up into the puberty time, basically. And past wisdom, these are things you learned from your parents, your siblings, from your grandparents. And really nowadays, what this position represents is things you learned from any ancient culture, even any semi-modern culture, but things you learned young, things that went into your foundation of who you are, really. Now, tone 3, my favorite key code word is busy, busy, busy. And the serpent, well, that's a lot of very physical. Like you being red, the bamboo, the corn, the cane, the reed, very physically oriented. All right? Red, serpent, very physical, very sensual. All right? So some of the energies that might have gone into your foundation could have been things like a visionary communication, energizing body wisdom, and even feminine passion. Maybe you learned passion from your mother or women in your life. Tone 3 is very connected to femininity, even the kitchen, for the reason of the 3 hearthstones, which the Maya believe came from Orion. So 3, activating serpent. 4, stabilizing rainstorm. Now, the rainstorm is the most connected glyph to the divine feminine for the Maya. You happen to have it right here in your divine feminine guide position. Corn, by the way, is pretty much the most masculine-oriented glyph. Arguably, Ahau, the solar chief, which some people call the sun god or sun lord, is equally, if not a tiny bit more masculine. But the interesting thing about corn is that for the Maya, only men can plant it, only men can harvest it, and only women cook it into the edible forms. Now, with the rainstorm, one of the key code words that came to me is cacao and cacao ceremony. For the Maya, the traditional Maya, only women can plant cacao, only women harvest it, and only women prepare it. Now, this glyph is, as I said, extremely femininely based, with some of the qualities of healthy home and family, healthy community, cleansing, purification, tough love, nourishment. And again, we have the eye of the storm. So you've got it as your core self, tonal influence, and you've got it in your divine feminine as well. Now this glyph, my glyph here, a little bit different from the way most of the Maya portray it. Your divine feminine, extremely emotional. You have every right to throw bolts of lightning when you need to. The tears are there. They need to flow. It's part of the flow of energy, of water. It's constant. Don't bottle them up, my friends. Everyone who has rainstorm, kawak, in your chart. And then, interestingly, you have tone 4, which is stabilizing. So this is the 4 elements, the 4 directions, the 4 seasons, the 4 colors of the Mayan calendar, and the 4 bodies that make up humanity. That is the physical body, and the spiritual body, and the emotional body of the blue people, and the thinking, logical body. I don't like to call it the mental body because that's mental. It's the thinking body. So we all have those 4. And what I call your step family is presented in this way. So everyone who is born on corn, this is your step family. So stabilizing rainstorm could give us some high vibration codes such as tough love requires unconditional love. Timing of the catalyst, and the divine feminine defines the rules of the game. Wow. So moving across 3, 4, 5, your heart chakra. We have empowering, which is tone 5. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Empowering, your right hand is empowering. And you've got the glyph that looks like a hand, but is called the deer. Ooh, I love these synchronicities here. So your right hand man is the hand, the empowering hand of the deer. And the deer is famous for protection of the other 4-footed animals, other humans, everyone. So you have this empowering protectiveness as your outer face, as your public face, as the way people see you. Most people see us as our right-hand man, okay? Most people see you as an empowering, protective force, sir. I see you as resolving corn, which includes all of these. Now, here are some high vibration code phrases for empowering deer. Core purpose of spiritual leadership. Regal acceptance. Speaking one's divinatory truth. Wow. 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, tone 6 is a regular old rollabola. So for all of those who were born standing on the double stacked rollabola, who arguably have one of the toughest jobs. Of the 13 tones, it is by far the most challenging tone. You all have tone 6 as your future vision guide. So, yay, it gets easier. Once we learn the wisdom from the past, once we learn how to embody, integrate, balance our divine feminine and divine masculine, that's what the Mayan calendar, especially as shown through Mayan embodiment, is providing for humanity at this time. Clear, super clear explanations of how to embody your divine feminine and divine masculine. Every single human being has divine feminine and divine masculine. When you learn from your past, balance your divine feminine and masculine, you naturally have a clear vision to your future, which all comes together into your core self once again. So, sunrise is the first glyph of 20 and is all about a primal creative energy. You still need to stay balanced in order to activate it. And really, the balancing activates your sunrise energy. So you've been doing this. This energy, this position, really comes into play at age 52. It starts at about age 42, 39, 42. You got 13 here, then you've got from 13 to 26 and 26 to 39. It takes us about till we're 40 to really start to embody both divine feminine and masculine. Usually we've had children by then. No matter if we're a man or a woman, having children activates your heart chakra and your feminine protectiveness, and sure, the masculine protectiveness too. If you're a woman, you have all of these things to embody according to your Mayan birthday, among other things. So, balancing sunrise. Such a beautiful, just think of that. Balancing sunrise. Wow. It's poetic. It's elegant. This whole system is deeply poetic. By the way, it comes from the Pleiades. Totally true. And it's so futuristic and so ancient, and it is a whole-brained system. It is completely divinely feminine and divinely masculine. It is far more powerful than either or. It is both and. So let's look at some of the possible high vibration code phrases for balancing sunrise. Stability from the collective unconscious. Emerging balanced family. And unconditional trust in synchronicity. So, all of those energies are part of who you are. Additionally, the 13-day pulse wave in which you were born is called dusk. There you are, the 11th day of the dusk pulse wave. So what that means is dusk has another influence on you. And dusk is, once again, blue, meaning emotional. There are dreams, there are empathic dreams, there are lucid dreams, and that tone 1 is the mini Big Bang. So it pushes the whole energy up the pyramid. And initiating dusk could also be called initiating dreams. And also initiating bringers of the dawn. I hope you have tuned into some of the Pleiadian energies that have been bubbling up to the surface of the last 32 years since the first book, Bringers of the Dawn, in 1992, with the word Pleiadian, was published. And the last thing I tell all my clients is the people who have their same Mayan birthday. And for you, sir, that is James Brown, Alicia Silverstone, and Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Interesting. So, if you'd like to know more, just email me and I am here to serve you. By the way, this pattern reveals synchronicity through your family as well. So, wife, children, parents, grandchildren. It's so fascinating to figure out how we all weave time together. So again, I have the deepest respect for what you have brought forth for humanity. Thank you so much for continuing to shine your light so brightly, connecting pillars of light. Een Lak, Namaste.